Y'all must have forgot. When I beat Virgil Hill with a body shot, y'all must have forgot. Hey, well, this is kind of crazy for me. It's April 3rd. I've been sitting here going, I haven't really been talking a whole lot about the Bernard Hopkins Roy Jones Jr. fight. And I'm like, I wonder why people aren't commenting on the video. Oh, I didn't make one. I guess after the Danny Green fight, when Roy Jones Jr. lost, I was like, oh, this fight's not going to happen. It's going to be off, So I had it written down. I was going to do the video. I guess I just never did, and I thought I did. But, hey, I've been punched in the head, okay? So until you get punched in the head a lot, don't give me anything about, no, you forgot, and blah, blah, whatever. Whatever! Anyway, I'm here to break that fight down to you 5 minutes before it happens. That way I can at least get on record and say what I wanted to say. This fight is 17 years in the making, and I've been waiting 17 years myself for this fight to happen. Both fighters are Hall of Fame fighters. Both of them are going down as one of the greatest in their divisions of all time. I would say Bernard Hopkins in the middleweight division, because he held that down from 95 to 2005, 20 title defenses. Come on! And Roy Jones Jr. in the light heavyweight division, where he held that from 1996 all the way till 2002, where he had that lockdown. And it could be argued that he was one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time, or one of the greatest super middleweights of all time. You could, with Roy Jones Jr. So, I'm going to break down this fight, and then, give you my prediction. First fighter I'll go with is Roy Jones Jr. He's 54-6 with 40 knockouts for a 66.67% knockout ratio, and 41 years old. And when you start thinking age, you kind of got to throw that out of the window on this fight. I mean, you're talking 86 years in the ring, and Roy Jones Jr. is a younger guy. So, and he was one of the most athletically gifted fighters of all time. I don't care who you think. Oh, Manny Pacquiao plays basketball. Dude, Roy Jones Jr. not only played basketball, he played professional basketball. He played in a game, scored 20 points, and then later that night beat somebody up. Come on. So, before you start chirping there, let's compare facts to facts, and you'll come up with that. His first loss against Montel Griffin was a disqualification. He was winning the fight, and he hit him when he was down. So they disqualified him. He rematched him again, knocked Montel Griffin out in the first round. Now, he beat Hopkins when they first fought in '93. And it was a unanimous decision. It was a good fight. He waxed James Toney. I mean, almost mopped the floor with him in that one. Knocked Virgil Hill out with a body shot. He blasted Thomas Tate, knocked him out in 2 rounds. I know a lot of you guys are like, who the hell are these guys? Well, you're younger, I'm old. So I remember all this stuff. I remember seeing the awesomeness that was Roy Jones Jr. He had speed, he had power, he had the athletic gift. The problem was he never had a defense. His defense was his athleticism, because he would dodge you, or they called it the rooster defense, I don't know. But he could dodge out of the way, and his hands would be at his waist. He would just make you miss, man. He was so fast that you couldn't catch him, you couldn't hit him. He would bust you 3 times, move a step to the side, completely out of the picture. The guy is punching, and then he's like, and then it was amazing to watch him fight. I mean, he was a middleweight, a super middleweight with welterweight or below speed. It was freaky, man, to watch this man fight. But as I said earlier, his D was always suspect, and he never adapted to it in his career. He never compensated for the loss of his athletic ability into his defense. So he relied on the athleticism instead of the basics. But eventually, Father Time gets everybody. And when you don't do that, you wind up in trouble. There wasn't a punch this man can't throw. There wasn't a punch he didn't throw. Nassim Ahmed, all those guys emulated their style after Roy Jones Jr. He was a phenom. And if you weren't old enough to watch his fights live, I'm sorry. But then again, that means you're younger than me, so I'm not sorry. So, getting all that in there was an absolute amazing fighter. But he was the first one to go from middleweight to win the heavyweight title. He was the first to do a lot of things that were just unbelievable. He went up. He beat John Ruiz for the title because he was faster, moved around. I even think he probably hit harder than Ruiz, but that's here nor there. He doesn't hit as hard as Hay, and Hay moves fast, moves around. Anyway, that's a different fight. So, and then coming down, well, that weight gain and stuff slows you down a little bit. He loses that weight, lost to Tarver. He won the majority decision. Then he got knocked out by Tarver. Then he got knocked out. Was it Glenn Johnson? Knocked out by Danny Green. So he's had, of his 6 losses, 3 of them he's been knocked out in. So that's not good. And you look good against Omar Shika. You look good against Jeff Lacey. But pretty much anybody that's fought Lacey after Calzaghe dominated him has looked decent. That was a good fighter anyway. Switching over to Bernard Hopkins. He's 50-5 with 1 draw. You look at it, he's ageless. He's ageless. The man has done the one thing Roy Jones Jr. didn't, and he adopted his style as he aged. Now, with the 32 knockouts and being at 56% knockout, people are like, oh, that's not that much. Dude was called the executioner for a reason. I mean, he got dudes out of there. I mean, he beat people up. I think they even called him like the Mexican assassin or something. I don't know. It was crazy. This is 17 years in the making for him. I personally think the reason why he's still fighting today was for this fight. He's got one of the best defenses in the world with that Philly shell hybrid that he does. He's forgotten more about boxing than I'll probably ever know, and any of us watching this and talking about this fight will ever know. You look at he went 12 years from that loss that he suffered from Roy Jones Jr. He went 12 years before he lost again. He locked down the middleweight division from 1995 to 2005. 10 years, 20 title defenses. Can't argue, Hall of Fame. Absolute Hall of Famer. No denying it. He took out Tito Trinidad when he was 40-0. Knocked him out. Body shot him, I believe. He beat Glenn Johnson when Glenn Johnson was 32-0. Glenn Johnson's still fighting, man. Everybody's giving him props, you know what I mean? He's still fighting for a title now. Antoine Eccles knocked him out. He was 24-3 at the time. You had Howard Eastman, who was 40-1. You had William Jaffe, who was 34-2. I mean, when you start talking about these fighters and picking them, who do you think? Well, you got Bernard Hopkins, who lost that split decision with Taylor, which could have went his way, which led to the rematch with Taylor. He lost that one. But I only had him losing it by like 1 round or somewhere there because he waited too long. Not that he couldn't beat Taylor. He just waited too long. He lost to Calzaghe, which was a given. So, I mean, you're talking 17 years and only like 2 real official losses. What other fighters can really claim that? I mean, it's crazy. Looked great against Pavlik, and he dominated the last guy that he fought. So, when coming into this, Bernard Hopkins hasn't lost his ability to fight. It's there. He's modified his style. He can rough you up. If the ref ain't looking, there's no telling what he's going to do to you. You better hope the ref has 4 eyes when you're fighting Hopkins. because he can get you with the shoulders. You know, he hits you low on your hip. You know, he hits you in the hip, hits you in the thigh. I mean, he's got some nice tactics in there when you watch him. Watch some of his fights, man. You'd be like, damn, I can't believe the ref didn't see that. Well, the ref knows more than, or the Bernard Hopkins knows more than the ref on boxing, and probably how to judge in ref fights, actually. Yeah. He was manager of the year, so this man knows what he's doing. He knows boxing. And this is a respect fight for him. This is everything that his whole life is tied into this fight. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Watching this, I think it's going to be a war. And it's going to be a war of attrition. And I think, this is going into the prediction part now, in case you didn't notice. And I believe Bernard Hopkins pulls this out by decision. I don't think he knocks Roy Jones Jr. out. I don't know if he has that ability anymore. Well, he probably does, because Roy Jones is 41. So, but I think it's going to be a long beat down for Bernard Hopkins. I don't think he wants the fight to end early. 17 years in the making. I really want to say Bernard Hopkins by knockout in like the 10th round. I really want to see that. But I think it'll go decision. So I'm going with decision. I'm not going to waver on any fence or give you anything like that, but Bernard Hopkins, alright? Fight should be very unbelievably exciting. I can't believe it's finally happening. I've waited 17 years myself. It's a long time. Alright, well hey, this is Big Ragu. I'm out.